एक कॉलेज का 4th ईयर का स्टूडेंट who is having his own successful startup that has raised $450,000, right? He's having his own YouTube channel with 148k plus subscribers. He was also invited to a TED Talk that is having 36 million YouTube subscribers. तो यार कितना कुछ सीखने को मिल सकता है इनसे. So today I am having हरीश उदय कुमार with me. तो यार beneficial रहने वाली है. And do not forget to give a thumbs up. Subscribe to this channel. This really helps me a lot. And let's get started. So hi Harish, I have been following you a lot lately, from your startup energized life to your recent updates about on LinkedIn and Instagram. So you are a really inspiration to me personally because yaar hum same age ke hain and you are doing so much things, right? So having a lot of questions in mind about Blue Learn, about the recent pitching event that you have had for its college students, and a lot of thing about your perspective about startups and a lot more. So without further ado, let's get started. So hi Harish, how are you?
I'm good, dude. How are you?
I'm amazing as well. And finally this podcast is happening, right? So
Yeah.
let's start with the first question, that you recently have had an pitching competition for college students, right? That is kind of inspired from Shark Tank. So what was your mindset behind it and how it all happened?
Yeah. So a lot of people, right, especially people in college, they're quite hesitant to approach investors because they're like, अच्छा वो तो बड़े लोगों का काम है, मैं क्यों जाऊँ? So we were like, what if we just call two amazing people? One of them was a founder of a company which makes almost $1 million a year. Another person was from 100x VC. And we were like, let's give these guys a little bit of exposure so that even if you have a good startup idea, if you're hesitant to approach investors, we'll come to you and you pitch and get feedback. And I think at least in our journey when we were starting, जो feedback मिला था investors से while we were initially pitching was very useful in terms of how we built the company. And these are like really smart people from amazing with great experience. So the feedback that they give, it's super useful, right? So we want to give that experience to our community members as well, and that's why we hosted the competition. And surprisingly, there were some amazing startups, right? There was a startup which had $18,000 in revenue in like 6 months. There was a startup which ranked number 3 on Product Hunt. So there were really good quality startups as well. So yeah, just to get investors and students together, that was the entire purpose. 4 of them got approached by an investor later, and I'm not sure if they got an offer, but still.
Exactly. So the next question is that you are like so young, we are of the same age, है ना? So in the pre-seed funding round, what happened? Because on the news articles I have seen that a lot of amount was like before the final round itself you have collected, right? So how it all happened, that what was the thing, how you pitched and how it all went?
Yeah, I think when it comes to pre-seed rounds, it's mostly about the team that helps. So Shreyans and I had worked on a bunch of projects together. So more than the company, they invested in us. They knew that, we would end up building something. And secondly, it's more about, the space that we were in, right? We were trying to build a community. We were trying to build a network. And it's very hard to build networks, right? There are very few products where you can have people. There are very few products where you can have people coming in together and chatting and talking and meeting. So any product which builds a network, like Uber has built a network of riders and passengers. Airbnb has built a network of hosts and, travelers. Tinder has built a network of people who want to date. So it's very hard to form these networks. And we had somehow formed a network of students. And that's what sort of struck them, and they thought कि कुछ ना कुछ बन जाएगा इसका in the next couple of years, and that's how we reached it.
Exactly right. So can you please share the exact stats that what were that? Because I have seen on the internet, but it was $450,000 if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, it was around $450,000.
Okay. So that's really amazing, right? So that as you said that you are the fastest growing community in India right now, right? So how does it feels to be too young between two such of experienced entrepreneurs of the others competitor that you're having? So how does it feel and how you cope up with that? Because at this age you are having a lot of things going on around you. Also you are managing a lot of things as well. You're having a YouTube channel, you're having the startup, and a lot of things are going on. So how you manage that particularly?
Yeah, YouTube, I haven't been posting a lot recently. I have to start posting again. I'm just trying to look for some motivation to post. Apart from that, I think being young has its own advantages because you learn really quickly. You read a bunch of books, you read Twitter threads, you just talk to a lot of other entrepreneurs and learn really quickly. So I really feel, especially in the student community space, just you being a student and you being young really helps. You understand the audience and move faster, and you don't have a lot of responsibilities. Like I don't have to care about family or kids or things like that. So that gives me a lot of time to work on Blue Learn in itself and keep thinking about it. um, and secondly, yeah, it has been an overwhelming experience. A lot has happened in just a year. And it takes some time to process it because yesterday you were just a student and today you have to like manage 30 people, and uh, you have you know investors money and a lot of other factors come into play. But then instead of putting pressure on yourself, just think of it as a game where you've been given a bunch of resources, you have a good novel problem to solve, and just keep solving it. And if you lose, then it's fine. Like you can always do it again. And if you win, then it's great. Like don't get overconfident, just keep moving. I think being consistent and keep it and just moving on is one of the most critical skills every founder should have.
Exactly. The thing you said, that being consistent, consistency is the key, right? So this is the main thing always, right? And
I'm not the best estimate because I don't even post YouTube videos consistently, but yeah, at least in terms of work, I think I'm a little consistent.
exactly, because it all depends on the responsibility that you're having, right? So before 1 year you were like more consistent on YouTube. Nowadays you are also like you're posting videos, but not that consistently, right? I have seen them, right? So the next thing that I want to ask is from past, like you can say 1 year, जैसे लॉकडाउन शुरू हुआ है, जब से
Yeah.
स्टार्टअप्स का, क्योंकि वर्क फ्रॉम होम हो गया, तो कुछ मतलब स्टार्टअप्स का बहुत क्रेज़ आ गया है अचानक. अभी शार्क टैंक आने के बाद भी मतलब इंडियन यूथ में स्टार्टअप ही हो रहा है ना. एंड रिसेंटली अंकुर वारिकू लाइक मेड अ रील दैट बहुत ज़्यादा स्टार्टअप हो रहा है, बट इट्स नॉट लाइक दैट कि जो 9 to 5 वर्क कर रहे हैं वो एकदम ही मतलब ऐसे डिमोटिवेट्स हो जाते हैं. एंड यू ऑल्सो रीशेयर्ड दैट, राइट? सो
Yeah.
व्हाट्स योर पर्सपेक्टिव अबाउट स्टार्टअप्स करंटली? बिकॉज इट कैन चेंज इन लाइक कल ही चेंज हो सकता है ना? पर व्हाट करंटली अभी आपका क्या पर्सपेक्टिव है अबाउट दैट?
So when we use the word startups, like we need to just break it down and see what exactly it is, right? Most startups are built to solve a particular problem faced in some industry.
Yes.
Like, for example, if we are in the education industry, then the problem we're trying to solve is that colleges are broken. A lot of colleges, like, why is Stanford so amazing and why is some Rangu Bhai college so bad? Like, why is there such a huge difference? What if we can build an online player that brings Stanford level experience to everyone else, right? That's the problem that we are trying to solve. We think that students deserve much better. The problem that Uber is trying to solve is, it's hard to book a cab by doing this. You need to, like, if you just tap a button, you can get a cab. Like, it's trying to solve for the ease of booking a cab. So as long as startups are solving a real problem, like if you're building a startup which puts an umbrella on your shoe, no one's gonna buy it. Like that's just a fake problem, and you're starting up just because you want to become a founder. So as long as you're solving real good problems, you'll somehow figure out building a large company. But if you're just starting up for the sake of putting CEO at whatever on your LinkedIn, then and if you're not solving a real problem, then probably those kind of startups will die out soon.
एग्जैक्टली राइट. सो ऑल्सो जैसे अश्नीर गोवर बोलते हैं ग्रुप में, मतलब शार्क टैंक में अगर कोई भी सभी कोई लेम आइडिया होता है तो वो सीधा बोल देते हैं, राइट? सो दैट इज़ द थिंग दैट यू आर सेइंग अबाउट कि शू ऑन अम्ब्रेला इज़ लाइक अ यूजलेस आइडिया. मतलब अभी तक मैं खुद हंस रहा हूँ उस पर, है ना? तो सो ड्यूरिंग योर होल जर्नी, लाइक it's been a year, but in that year particularly you have learned a lot, you have grown a lot, you have expanded a lot. So there must be some mistakes that you made. So are there any things that you want your younger self to know, that अगर मुझे ये पता होता तो मैं आज जहाँ हूँ वहाँ जल्दी पहुँच जाता, right? So in that way, anything that you want to share?
Yeah, I think everyone should read, dude. Like I didn't read back then. Even now, I'm like a slow reader, but just reading a lot of these business and leadership and startup books really, really helps because as young founders, you don't college में तो ना सिखाते ये सब
नहीं.
चीज़ें, तो there has to be some source of knowledge. And Twitter and all is good, blogs are great, but nothing beats reading. So right now I'm reading this book called The Cold Start Problem. Before that, I read this book called The Hard Things About Hard Things, and the amount of things you learn about building a startup is just incredible from these books. So, even if you look at Bill Gates, he still reads, right? Like some of the most successful people, even after becoming successful, they keep reading because of that quest for knowledge.
Yeah.
And I think that's really necessary. So, yeah, it will be reading.
Exactly. Bro, we have been following you a lot, and जैसे आपको देखते तो we also like started reading. जैसे I have done a podcast with Ishan as well, and he said the same thing that what you have to do, you have to read, you have to like जैसे हम फिजिकली एक्सरसाइज करते हैं अपने माइंड की एक्सरसाइज करने के लिए यू हैव टू रीड राइट. आई हैव ऑल्सो
Yeah.
स्टार्टेड इट लाइक अभी तो आई एम रीडिंग माई फर्स्ट बुक ओनली. इट्स हियर द मॉन्क हू सोल्ड
Oh,
हिज फरारी,
nice.
है ना. सो it's like this, right? So then the last thing, we have discussed a lot about Blue Learn, about that called pitching idea that was inspired from Shark Tank, about you, how you started, how you are doing right now, what goes behind a startup. We have discussed a lot. So at the end, I just want you to ask that any advice to all the viewers. We are having viewers who are beginner, intermediate or advanced in terms of like they are having idea, or they're trying to implement the idea, or they already implemented the idea, right? So what will be your golden words for them?
Yeah, so firstly, idea chhod do. Just go to your home, take out a piece of paper, and write like 10 problems that you see around yourself. And then out of those 10, choose one that you're really passionate about, that you really want to solve. फिर उसके ऊपर idea निकालो कि क्या solution हो सकता है इसका. But keep the problem the same. The ideas could be like a million, and out of those million, one could work, but problem same होना चाहिए, right?
Exactly.
Like even on day one, we were trying to solve for college education. Even today, we're solving for college education. But back then, the idea was different. अभी भी idea different है. कल कुछ और हो सकता है. But keep solving for the same problem. Ideas could change.
Exactly. And I'm definitely sure कि podcast जो audience उनको काफ़ी help करेगी. And I request you कि वापस जाके एक बार पूरी चीज़ सुनो, because the things he has said ना, कई बार ऐसा होता है कि हमें पहली बार में समझ नहीं आती है, पर ऐसा होगा कि अगर मैं 5 साल बाद ये चीज़ वापस सुनता हूँ तो आई रियली हैड हिट कि यार उस टाइम अगर मैं ध्यान से सुन लेता तो आई वुड हैव बीन बेटर, राइट. सो और आपको खुद का इतना एक्सपीरियंस है. सो थैंक यू फॉर योर टाइम, थैंक यू फॉर सच एन अमेजिंग सेशन, एंड आई विश यू ऑल द लक फॉर ऑल योर फ्यूचर एंडेवर्स.
Thanks, Chirag. All the best. Nice podcast.
Okay, thank you.